Hey, everybody, it's Steve Alexander, Dr. A. This is the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by PrizePicks. Today is Thursday, May 2nd. I am Steve, or Doc. He is Rick Kamla. I can almost guarantee you this podcast is going to be more exciting than Wednesday night's blowout basketball games that we watched.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the award-winning RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Rick Kamla and Steve Alexander, FSW Hall of Famer and FSWA Hall of Famer. And this is brought to you by PrizePicks. And we are going to get to some more or less situations for you later on in our broadcast here. Let's begin, Doc, with reacting to last night's games. You know, obviously, they weren't great to watch, but there was some interesting stuff going on here. Shout out to Luka Doncic for playing through a knee sprain and also playing through an illness with 35, 7, and 10. He made 14 of 26 shots. Shout out to Kyrie Irving. Doc, he didn't have a great overall game, but when Luka, he looked really rickety and like not moving well early in the game. And I thought his movements really kind of like his knee, like calmed down, and he was just able to kind of play his game. But at the start of the game, it was rickety and weird. And that's where Kyrie came in. He was on the ball. He was scoring. He was diming. And after the lousy starts that Dallas got off to in game 1 and in game 4, the only reason they lost those games, they needed a hot start last night at LA. So I thought Kyrie Irving really gave them that boost. And so let's launch off there, dude. Talk to me about the Dallas Mavericks mauling the Clippers in LA last night.
Well, it's embarrassing for Los Angeles that you have a home game 5 and you do that in front of your ownership and your fan base and James Harden and Paul George and, you know, all the guys on TNT after the game are like, this is why I never trusted the Clippers. And
now they're saying that. Oh, okay, I see. Now they're saying
that. But to your point about Kyrie Irving, when Kyrie Irving signed with Dallas, I was like, okay, I get it. He's the best player that Cuban can go get without having to break any banks or blow up any teams or do anything crazy. But are Luka and Kyrie really a good pairing together? And I think we have our answer, dude. It's kind of the opposite of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. Like, these two guys are getting along like brothers, best friends, great teammates, rubbing each other's heads, hugging each other, dapping each other up, picking each other up off the floor. Like, it really is weird that, you know, since Kyrie came back from that last injury, you have not heard one negative thing about Kyrie Irving this season, really. And he's been a great soldier. He's been a great teammate. They added the big guys, Derek Lively and Danny Gafford. And Dallas looks pretty good, man. If Luka and Kyrie are on their game and bringing the heat, and what's his face, Derek Jones Jr. is going to come out of nowhere and start throwing down dunks once a quarter. The sky's the limit for this team, and I couldn't be more proud to be a Mavericks fan today, Rick. I feel like a proud father.
You should. That was they won the series last night, in my opinion. I believe that the series is over. We'll see it. I know that sounds hot takey and all that, but the LA Clippers. All right, I'll get to the Clippers here in a minute. I just want to tag your thought here on Kyrie Irving, Doc. You were talking about there's no drama, right? It's just smooth sailing. It's just basketball. Here's why: Kyrie feels loved. Kyrie is taken care of by Mark Cuban. Josiah and Kyrie Irving were at odds and butting heads over contract, over COVID, and he didn't feel loved, okay? And you could be hardcore about it and say, well, you got to play through that anyway and all this kind of stuff. You're forgetting about the human element with this, and you're forgetting about a very, very mercurial human being in Kyrie Irving. You have to handle with care. You can't just handle the way you handle everybody else with Kyrie. No, it's like the Jordan rules, but interpersonally, there's the Kyrie rules. You have to love on him, okay? And the Nets did not do that, and it created a very icy situation. The love wasn't there in Boston. The love wasn't there at the end of Cleveland. And the love is there now. And I told people, Doc, on NBA radio this summer when Kyrie was up and Mark Cuban was re-signing him, if I'm Mark Cuban, I'm giving Kyrie whatever he wants, okay? And we can negotiate about years a little bit off the max, but I'm giving him a massive contract, and it's going out many, many years here because I want Kyrie Irving happy. A happy Kyrie is a content Kyrie, is a productive and winning and successful Kyrie. So Mark Cuban deserves a ton of credit for this. Stroking that check, bringing him in. It's a love fest now, and I'm into it. Now, Doc, as we pivot to the Clippers here, that was the most Clippers loss ever. That loss was as on brand, Doc, as a Disney script in Hollywood, okay? And you know how I've banged on the Clippers over the years, but you want to talk about a team making an announcer look like he knows what he's talking about? Yesterday on NBA radio, me and Antonio had a little debate. And the debate was, is James Harden going to come through tonight, or is he going to, break hearts tonight? I already knew the answer. And so we got it. All right. That was the most Clippers loss ever. Of course, James Harden wasn't going to play well last night. It's a game 5. It's a big game. He never plays well at big games. Okay. Paul George, Doc, he's got more of an inconsistent history with the big game thing, right? He's had some big games. He's had more bad performances in big games. He had 15, 11, and 4 last night on 4 of 13. James Harden, 7, 4, and 7. That's it. Nickels and dimes. That's a freaking campaign line off the Philly bench, okay? He shot 2 of 12, 1 of 7 on threes. Ugh, okay? The Clippers MVP last night was, Doc, are you ready for this? Ivica Zubac was the Clippers MVP last night. Maybe their equipment manager, okay? Zubac had 15 and 6, made 7 of 8 shots. George and Harden were passive. They were unaggressive. They hid from the ball at times. And, Doc, they didn't shrink in the moment. They ran from the moment. Doc, George and Harden combined to take 25 shots without Kawhi Leonard. That number needs to be at least 40 FGAs from George and Harden. That was literally the most Clippers loss ever. And, Doc, they lost by 30.
It reminds me a little bit of speaking of teams that do the most teamish thing ever that they are, is like the Falcons taking Penix Jr. In that draft and just blowing the whole thing up and blowing up social media and blowing up football basically for 3 days. That Clippers performance was akin to that, in my opinion. First of all, a James Harden triple single in game 5 is not what you're looking for. Like, there's no Kawhi Leonard out here, dude. Like, it's all Paul and it's all James. It's all on their shoulders. They knew that going in. And it's like those guys don't even give a crap. Like were they even trying? I don't know. And, I know you've got a lot of thoughts about what Steve Ballmer should do here. And I'm so glad that I would actually be excited to have Steve Ballmer money and to have all 3 of those guys in my stable. But what is he going to do with this mess? I mean, so everybody thought the Clippers were a mess when they put it together. And then, like, in the middle of the season, they sort of peaked and started balling out. And it was like, oh, man, maybe this is going to work. And then, boom, Kawhi's gone right on a little later than we thought he would be. I mean, I thought he'd be out by Christmas. He made it through, February, March? I don't know. He's gone. Now we got Jimmy Harden out there. One day he looks great. One day he looks awful. And then Paul George just so inconsistent all the time. I just can't do it.
So what Ballmer should do is sign Paul George to a max contract this summer and then trade him before the February 25 deadline. That's what he should do. What he should do is let James Harden walk in free agency. Bye. It hasn't been real, and good luck with the rest of your life. But he won't do that, Doc, because he is opening the Intuit Dome next year, and he does not want a rebuilding or tanking team. He wants a team that he can at least sell with big names, even though me and you And a lot of others are like, okay, that's fine, but none of us are buying it. Okay. It's a paper tiger team. It's a fraudulent team. And like going into next year, Doc, when you talk about Memphis being a lot better, San Antonio's going to make moves. They got our boy Wemby. Okay. Like it's not a guarantee that the Clippers are even a playoff team with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and James Harden. Okay. So let's move on to Boston beating Miami to advance to the second round. And for Boston, an interesting thing is going on here, Doc, between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And I'm wondering if we have a co-Batman situation emerging here. Brown last night, 25 points, 11 of 19, super aggressive early, had a kick-ass game. Tatum had 16 points on 4 of 9 shooting. It appeared to me that Miami was tilting the floor on the Tatum side and kind of loading up and then scrambling back to shooter. So it was a little bit of a strategic thing. But, Doc, in the series, Jason Tatum, 21.8 points per game. Brown, 22.8 points per game. Tatum, 77 shots. Brown, 92 shots. Okay. Free throw attempts heavily in Tatum's favor. He took 45. Brown took 20. But, Doc, that speaks to me of a co-Batman, or even maybe a little bit more of Jaylen Brown was the kind of sort of Batman in that series against Miami. Are you reading that as well? And if so, do you think that's a problem for Boston?
I don't think it's a problem for Boston. I do. Here's the thing. I think Tatum is like the steady dad, and he just has everything under control. I can score. I can not score. I can rebound. I can not rebound. If you need me, I'm there. If we're going to win by 35 and put America to sleep with this snooze fest blowout, I'll chill out. I'll take 9 shots. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to win. That's basically where Tatum is. Jaylen Brown, to me, for the Celtics to be successful, need aggressive chip on his shoulder, kind of angry Jaylen Brown, not passive Jaylen Brown with 10 turnovers. They need aggressive Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown needs love, a little bit like Kyrie, I think. And I don't know that Tatum needs that love. Tatum's more like, hey, I know I'm the alpha dog here. I got this. I'm holding this down. I just want everybody around me happy and balling. So I don't think it's really a problem. I think it's just sort of the way those guys are going to be. Like Tatum's going to be there when you need him. And if Tatum senses his boys need the ball, he's going to give it to them. And this whole Derek White thing, by the way, it has been incredible. And what a stud that guy has turned out to be. Celtics are good. They're still good.
But they're going to lose to Denver in the NBA Finals.
We're going to see.
Maybe the New York Knicks, Doc. Because I have a question for you. Kristaps Porzingis, according to reports, is not going to play in the next series. And so that means he might not play in the series after that. That is the Eastern Conference Finals. And if Porzingis does not play in that series, and if the Knicks get there, I think the Knicks are going to beat the Boston Celtics, Doc. So this injury has me thinking that the Celtics might not win the East, which has been a foregone conclusion all year long.
I'm not worried. I feel like the Celtics have been preparing for life without Kristaps Porzingis since October. He sat out a ton of games this year. He rested a lot. He was hurt a lot. And I think they can win without him. I think they're so deep and so good defensively that like having Kristaps Porzingis on their team is a luxury item. And that's why I had the Celtics winning it all to begin with, is because if you have a Kristaps Porzingis and he's simply a luxury item, then you're really, really, really good. But to your point, the Knicks have got something going on right now, and there is a vibe and a flow. And then we're going to get the Pacers, Knicks, hopefully. We're going to have all this throwback to Spike and Reggie and Van Gundy and Pat Ewing and Rick Smits, and it's going to be so fun. I cannot wait for that series to happen, if it does happen. And then after that, it's going to be come down to the Celtics are going to have to go get them an Eastern Conference championship. And whether they can do it without Porzingis or not, I don't really know. But they were so much better than every team in the East. I think they can.
We shall see, fellas and ladies. We shall see. It is the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast with Rick Kamla and Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. We are brought to you by PrizePicks, and we'll get into some PrizePicks more or less a little bit later on in the show. Doc, let's put we either write an epitaph or do an autopsy on the Miami Heat. And let me hit you with this, Doc. The Miami Heat are an absolute mess right now. Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. I mean, come on. It was the movie 300, Gerard Butler. You eventually lose. You're going to bleed out on the battlefield. You just don't have enough, okay? They shot 6. Is that right? I'm looking at my math here. I write down notes 16 of 45. Is that literally what they were last night? Or I'm going to believe my notes right here. Oh, my God, is that bad? No Butler, no Rozier, no Jaquez, no Josh Richardson, no chance, okay? Doc, Pat Riley, I have the cure for Heat culture because Heat culture is broken right now. It's broken. Tibbs culture is stronger. Luka, Kyrie culture. There's a lot of cultures that are stronger than Heat culture right now. Pat Riley needs to have a come to Jesus meeting with Jimmy Butler. Go to the Bahamas, get on a banana boat, whatever you got to do. Okay. If I'm Pat Riley, I'm G'ing Jimmy Butler. I'm saying if you don't commit to the regular season, then we are going to trade you. What you going to do, Jimmy? The ball's in your court. Doc, Heat culture has died in the last 2 regular seasons. It has died. It is vaporized, okay? It was alive in last year's playoffs, miraculously. You can't do that. You can't duplicate miracles. Miracles happen once a generation, once a lifetime. You can't duplicate that. Miami thought they could duplicate what they – no. Pardon me. Jimmy Butler thought he could duplicate what he did last year. And then, something goes wrong in the play-in game, and you don't even, you aren't even able to play in the playoffs with your team, okay? If you took the regular season more seriously, you would not have been in the play-in tournament, and you would not have blown a tire. Talk to me about the Heat, Doc.
There are a lot of NBA analysts who do not like what you and I do, which is fantasy basketball. Fantasy football is dumb. Fantasy sports are dumb, whatever. But you know what? You and I have been saying for 4 years, I'm not drafting Jimmy on my fantasy team because he doesn't play regular season games, nor does he care about them. He's going to take 1 game off a week every single week. That's not good for your basketball team. Now, Kristaps Porzingis has a long history of leg problems, knee problems. He needs maintenance days. He needs days off. Jimmy just misses games, and Jimmy don't care till playoff Jimmy gets here. And you can tell Jimmy didn't care this year when he showed up with his hair looking like that, and that stayed as his profile picture all season long. And I'm with you, dude. I think Pat Riley needs to sit him down and be like, dude, you're either going to play or you're not. How old is Jimmy now? Is he like 33?
He's older than that. I think he's 35. I'll check that. He might be 34. He's older than 33, though. I know that.
Well, Jimmy can give him say all the right things. Like, yeah, I'll be there next year. I'll do what I can.
34 now.
Now he's old enough where he shouldn't be playing that. He probably should take 1 game off a week. He's 34 years old.
Durant didn't, this year Durant didn't. I ain't giving these guys that, man.
LeBron didn't really either.
So. Yeah, Davis didn't. Kawhi and Paul George were healthy this year. I'm not giving any of these guys that anymore.
Kyle
it's
Lowry.
Your job. Play basketball. You're not 43.
Mike Conley.
You're 34. Come on, bro. No. Doc, I'm done with all the concessions and all the soft media enabling of all this load management. I'm done. I'm attacking it from a completely different stance. I'm Tom Thibodeauing this thing, okay? I want you to play 48 and 82. Okay?
Well, and you and I...
a haircut off of that, I'm fine. But we're not talking about 63 damn games around here.
You and I are not drafting Jimmy Butler again next year. That's all I know.
Out. Okay, so let's move on to some advice for the people.
Hey, let me do this real quick. Can I do
Hit
this
'em.
first? PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states across the country. PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. Watch the winnings roll in. Like tonight, for example, I like Obi Toppin with more than 8.5 points against the Bucks. I also like Josh Hart to have more than 14.5 points against the Sixers. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use code ROTOPOD for first deposit match up to $100. That's promo code ROTOPOD for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Download PrizePicks today and use code ROTOPOD for a first deposit match up to $100. Sign up now.
I love it. We're brought to you by PrizePicks today, the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Rick Kamla, Dr. A, a.k.a. Steve Alexander, a.k.a. FSWA Hall of Famer. Doc, talk to me about Milwaukee at Indiana tonight, Game 6, and the Pacers are laying 8.5 points. Where are you at with this?
Well, I think the series ends tonight. Whether it ends by 8 points or more, I don't know. But the fact that Giannis and Damian Lillard are both still doubtful, even after some positive bubblings yesterday, it's not good. There's only so much hero inside of Chris Middleton's body that you can squeeze out. And I think we've squeezed a lot of that hero out of there. Like it's all been used up. Brook Lopez does not have hero left in his body. Malik Beasley actually showed up and scored a bunch of points for a game, but that was a fluke. I don't know how that happened. Dante DiVincenzo is in New York. Drew Holiday is not there anymore. I don't know, man. I think the Pacers had their number from the very beginning. Milwaukee never had a chance because of these dumb injuries. Like, it makes me really sad that Dame and Giannis aren't out there because we don't know how good this Pacer team is. Like, are they winning 3-1 because the Bucks are so banged up, or are the Pacers really, really good? Is it a combo? We just don't know. So it's going to be a wake-up call for the Pacers when they move on to the next round, but I think this series is over.
I don't think the Pacers are really, really, really good. But I said this on NBA radio and maybe here in advance of the series. I would have picked the Pacers to win this series with or without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Dame came into the series healthy, obviously. I already faded him. I had the Pacers winning in 6. And so we're completely on serve for that prediction to come up here. I hate the number, Doc, 8.5, but I'm going to lay it anyway here, sheepishly. I don't want to play the middle here. I don't want to take the 8.5 points with Milwaukee and hope they lose. But no, I don't. I'm going to go with the winner here, and the point spread will, we'll either cover it or we won't. I don't like the number. It's a very, very tricky number, but it's also a number that I think tells you that this very, very well might be a blowout in the Indiana side. Okay, it's 8.5. It's Indiana, right? I mean, this isn't 8.5 for, one of the heritage teams or the Nuggets or something like that. This is the Pacers in an elimination game. 8.5? This might be a blowout here tonight, so I'm not playing the middle. Game 5, Doc, for me, was one last Bucks party at Fiserv before they close up shop for the season, and the amusement park, you got to wait till next summer. Gravity is going to be a problem for the Milwaukee Bucks, Doc. They had 4 players have serious spikes in Game 5. Portis had 29. Middleton had 29. Pat Bev had a double-double with points and assists. He never does that. Malik Beasley had 18. All 4 of those guys are due for and will have a major crash back to earth game tonight. Game 6 tonight will be a Pacers party. They won the first 2 games at home in this series. They're going to win again tonight. And think about this, Doc. is you've got the 4 Bucks coming down. You've got 3 Pacers with no gravity at all. They're going to be levitating upward, okay? Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner combined for 41 points in Game 5. That's it. They're going to combine for 60-plus points tonight, in my opinion. And the bottom line is the Pacers right now are just way better than the Bucks without Dame and Giannis. So I got the Pacers minus 8.5. Doc, let's move on to New York and Philly here, ATS style. The Sixers laying 3.5. Doc, who you got?
Well, can I make one comment about the Pacers?
Of course.
Remember how 2 years ago, every Pacer fan and every basketball fan and every basketball person said Miles Turner was out of there. He needed to go. He's not a good fit. He doesn't work in the system. Where did all that go? Because as far as I can tell, he's a baller and he's a perfect complement to Siakam and Halliburton. And the fact he's not getting more love or respect or whatever kind of makes me mad, because I think Turner is a huge part of what they do, and he might be the second best shooter on that team. Anyway, as for New York and Philly, man, I took the Sixers to win this series. We're back in Philly, right, for Game 6.
Correct.
If they can win tonight, we got Game 7 at New York on Sunday, I assume, which would be thrilling and awesome. I don't know, man. I feel like my Philly prediction was bad from the start. I feel like it's not going to hold up. I kind of feel like the Knicks are going to go win at Philadelphia tonight. I just think what Thibodeau has going on right now is working, and the whole Jalen Brunson thing, the whole Knicks thing, Josh Hart looks like an all-star. I know you've got it written down. I'm trying to figure out what Thibs is doing with McBride and Dante DiVincenzo. I think you are as well. Like, I don't really know what's happening there, but I don't know. Philly minus 3.5 at home. I've got Philly winning this series in 6 games, which is not going to happen, but maybe 7. I think I would throw money at Philly tonight since they're at home, but I don't have a great feeling about this one either.
This one, I'm with Doc. I would not put the mortgage on Philadelphia tonight. I would not. But I'd put some money on Philadelphia tonight. I will take the 3.5 and lay it. My pre-series prediction was Knicks in 7. And I feel like we're on serve for that. Philly's got to win tonight. Then, of course, would force that Game 7. And so here's why I like Philly tonight. It's none of that. Series predictions don't dictate who's going to win a basketball game. Doc knows this. You all listening know this. Joel Embiid is going to play a lot better tonight, I believe, than in Game 5. Joel Embiid was absolutely dreadful for 4 quarters. And then in overtime, he's diving on the floor, blocking shots, getting steals, making buckets, making free throws, and he took over, okay? Which was cool to see, but the first 4 quarters were brutal. The Knicks will get a full game of Joel Embiid tonight.
Yeah.
So Joel Embiid's going to have a big one tonight. Maxey Doc is going to come back to earth after the 46, but he'll still have like 25 to 30. I think the PrizePicks more or less on that is 27.5. It's like right in the middle. It's a stay away from me. He's going to be right around that number. I don't have a good feeling more or less on that. Tobias Harris joined the party in Game 5. Should be a good sign for Game 6. Oubre, Lowry, Batum, and Payne all are going to play better at home because role players obviously play better at home. I do think Brunson's going to have a big one tonight, Doc, just like he did in the previous 2 games in Philly. But will he have enough help? Where is Dante DiVincenzo? Look, OG Anunoby's game has traveled to Philly. Hartenstein had 1 good one and 1 bad one. I think McBride had 2 good ones. But it's been kind of like a nickel and dime scenario from a lot of the ancillary players with the Knicks, with Brunson leading the show. Dante DiVincenzo's been weird. He's averaging 9.8 points in this series, shooting 33% overall and 30% on threes, Doc, in 29 minutes. And Deuce McBride has been out there finishing games over Dante DiVincenzo. And you know why? Because Tom Thibodeau does not care about your salty little feelings. He does not care. Okay. If you're not making shots, if you're not helping me win right now in this moment, you are on the bench and next man up. That's why Dante's not finishing games, Doc, because Tibbs is over it. Dude, I love you. But if you're not going to help me tonight, I'm playing somebody else.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo has had so many huge games this season, and they've been spread out throughout the season. So I don't fully understand what's going on there. But I think Jalen Brunson is going to go crazy tonight. I think Deuce McBride is a good DFS play. FanDuel, he's $4,400. He's getting run over Dante right now. I think I would stick with that. I think you got to have Josh Hart in your lineup. I think even though you think Bobby Portis may be ready to fall back to earth tonight, I think Bobby Portis is going to have a big game. I don't know why I just jumped straight from this game into my FanDuel lineup, but that's what happened, Rick. I'm sorry. And then Joel Embiid, you got to think, man, you're at home in front of your fans. This is your chance to finally possibly turn the corner and not let people down and actually come through when it really, really matters. Like, this is your chance, dude. And you have got to come through tonight. Like, Embiid should have one of those historic performances tonight. And if he doesn't, Philly's probably going to lose and people are going to be mad. But the Tyrese Maxey show at the end of game 5 was one of the most awesome things we've seen this season. And you can add him to the list of these guys, like every kid on Oklahoma City, Ant-Man. You add Maxey in there, man. What a bad dude.
No, he's awesome, man. He's awesome. So let's get to some prize picks, top entries and projections here. We're brought to you today, the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast by PrizePicks. Check them out at PrizePicks.com. Let's start with Joel Embiid here, Doc. 30.5, more or less. I'm going more here. Game 5, he had 19 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. Okay, cool. You had a triple-double. That was an awful overall basketball game. He had 9 turnovers, made 7 of 19 shots. And so just to piggyback on what you were saying here and put the number on it, we're going to get a major bounce back game tonight from Joel Embiid. And I feel good about him being more than 30.5 tonight, Doc.
I mean, he should be closer to 40 or 50. Like, this should be one of those games. And we know he's capable of it because we've seen him do it before. I don't know how his knee is feeling. I don't know how his body's feeling. I know it's a game time call. You know he's going to be out there, and they need him to go crazy. I mean, there's just no reason that Isaiah Hartenstein should be able to limit what Joel Embiid does tonight. I just don't see it.
So we both like the more on Joel Embiid here. All right, Jalen Brunson, way more for Doc. Jalen Brunson's prize pick projection here is 33.5 with the points. I'm more on this one as well, Doc. This is all about competitive greatness. This is all about bouncing back after a loss. Think about the turnover he had at the end of overtime. He's going up for a 3-ball. Nick Batum comes over with the close. He doesn't feel like he's going to get the shot off. Feed to the corner to Hartenstein. Hartenstein's diving in for the offensive rebound. You turn the ball over. The game is over. We're going to game 6 at 3-2 instead of you moving on to the second round. That's been burning in his gut for 2 days. You know what a badass Jalen Brunson is and how competitive he is. This has been eating him alive. He's going to go big tonight. I'm looking, Doc, like he's going to have like a 20-point first half, right? I think he's going to be out there gunning and like, we're going to be feeling good about this projection right here, I believe, at halftime, Doc. So I'm going more than 33.5.
Yeah, I didn't like the way Brunson was sort of gunning last game. I felt like he was trying to do too much by himself offensively and just shooting and not really playing his normal game because rebounding and dropping dimes is such a big part of what he does. I felt like he was trying to take too much scoring load on his shoulder, although we know he can score a ton of points too. But But I'm with you. I think it's more than 33.5 tonight. And I mean, the bottom line is Brunson and Joel Embiid both know how big this game is, and they're both going to be leaving it all on the court tonight. And like, I really feel like tonight's games are going to be everything that we did not get last night. Like, these should be a lot more fun, a lot more fun to watch, unless the Pacers blow out the Bucks. But I don't know. But this game right here, I can't. This is good drama. It's good television. It's Joel Embiid against Jalen Brunson. Philly, New York. It's perfect. I can't wait.
Well, it beats the hell out of 90-Day Fiance, Doc, for drama. I will tell you that right now. It is Rick Kamla and Steve Alexander, Hall of Famer, and we are the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by PrizePicks. All right, Kelly Oubre. Doc, I got a Kelly Oubre vibe tonight. 12.5 is his projection. I'm going more here, okay? He was 15 points and 19 points in the 2 home games previously. He balls out in Philly. He's going to be like all Red Bulled out. You know, Kelly Oubre is just 1,000-watt with the energy and all that. I think he's going to be terrific tonight. He's at home. Role players play better at home. I'm more on Oubre at 12.5. Doc, how about you?
Actually, in my, I just reloaded. He's up to 13.5 now, which I don't.
I'm still more. I'm still more also. I'm going more than 13.5 on Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre's been a huge part of what this team has done all season long. He's sort of floated in and out of the playoffs. He's disappeared. He's shown up. He's disappeared. He's shown up. Philly needs to win this game. They need active Oubre out there. 14 points out of that guy, more than 13.5 is not asking for the world. He's also got one of those like red demons around his picture, which means the odds are kind of jacked up if Kelly Oubre scores more than 13.5 points. So I like that too. There's a little boost added to him at PrizePicks, which makes the extra point we just added on a little easier to live with. Okay, so we're more on Oubre here. Chris Middleton, 26.5 points is the projection. I am less on this, Doc. I am fading the Bucks. We talked about it in the ATS portion of this. I'm fading the Bucks. I am fading Middleton. Doc, I'll even add this one in here. Bobby Portis's projection is 20.5. I'm going less. And I believe I have Beasley in here as well. Did I go with Beasley? He's at 11.
Portis is 21.5 right now.
Really?
Beasley's 11.5.
Okay. I like the less on Bobby Portis even more now. That it's 21.5. I checked these projections out right before the show. So money is coming in, and these projections are changing here in real time, which is kind of cool. But I like the less on Bobby Portis even more now at 21.5.
Yeah, and Middleton's at 26.5. Like I said, man, we squeezed all the hero we can squeeze out of Chris Middleton. If Giannis and Dame are both out, somebody has to score. It'll probably be Middleton, but asking Middleton to get 27 points is not. That's hard. That's a lot of points, man.
Yeah, that's not just
now Portis,
like a normal game, right? 27 is a pretty dang good game, man.
It is. Portis and his crazy eyes, like that guy is just so hyped and so intense. Like I don't put anything past him. Like, but if I'm going to do a more or less on Portis, I think I'm going to combine rebounds with his scoring together. I'm going to do a points rebounds on PrizePicks instead of just a points.
And then would you go more or less?
Well, I would need to find out what that points rebounds total is, which I'm looking at right now. Go ahead and say something while I look this up.
Yeah, I'm still going to go less. I would actually maybe do both of them and go less on the rebound projection and go less on the point projection. I could see a foul trouble game tonight for Bobby Portis. I don't think he's going to like get ejected or anything like he did in game 4. He expressed a lot of remorse about that happening. So I think he's going to be on good behavior. I'm fading these guys. I am. He had 29. Okay. And that's not Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is 16 to 22. That's where he lives without Giannis. He doesn't live at 29. And I'm big on, the career year theory, the career game theory. I always fade dudes coming off of that kind of stuff. In fact, Doc, in a fantasy football dynasty draft last night, in the 3rd round, I scooped up Jalen Wright of the Miami Dolphins. Okay. And I don't really like the fit with Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, ahead of him on the depth chart. But guess what? You know what I baked into picking him over a Ray Davis, over a Bucky Irving? What I baked into that was Raheem Mostert, coming off of a career year, is probably going to get hurt or something's going to happen. Okay. He had 1 million touchdowns. He had by far the best year of his career. He's 32 years old. Hello. Alarms are going off in my head. Mostert is not going to be that guy this year for Miami. So I'm anticipating something happening to him. And that's why I took Jalen Wright over those other guys. So it's just where my head's at and how it works, man. But let's get to Andrew Nebhard here, Doc. 12.5. Okay. More or less on 12.5 points for Andrew Nebhard. I'm more on this. He's been over this number in 3 of 5 games in this series, including both home games when he scored 15 and 16. Are you on Nebhard tonight?
Yeah, I think I am. And I'm with you. I'm fading Bucks. It's 33.5 on Portis for more or less. And I think I'm going to go less with that's points and rebounds. Nebhard 12.5. I think I'm going to go more. I think I'm going to go back to what you said at the very beginning of our discussion about this game. This smells like an Indiana blowout. This smells like a home cooking Marion County, downtown Indianapolis. People fired up beyond belief. A blowout party to move on to the next round. And the more I think about it, the more the Bucks know this is over. If Giannis and Dame aren't out there, I could see a lot of these point totals that we're looking at come down to who's playing at the end of the game and is it a blowout or not. And blowouts, nothing will mess up your DFS or any kind of fantasy situation quicker than a blowout when everybody sits down early. But I could see it being a Pacers party, and even if they're up big, they may just keep their guys out there. So I think if I'm going to do this tonight, I'm going kind of all in on Pacers and avoiding the Bucks side of things.
Agreed. That is Dr. A, Steve Alexander. I'm Rick Kamla. We're the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by PrizePicks. Let's move on to some daily fantasy bargains and must plays. Doc, here's what I got. At point guard, I think Jalen Brunson is a must play at 9,700. I like Cam Payne as a dice roll. I don't have any money left. I got to fill out my lineup type of guy. I mean, it's a dice roll, okay? But at 3,200, he's back at home. Could be feeling those vibes. I do like Kelly Oubre a lot tonight, Doc. The shooting guard position is very slim. And I'm not feeling Dante right now. He's in this huge shooting slump. I think Oubre is going to have a spike game tonight. I think he's a must play at that position at a 5,200. I like Nesmith at 5,100. I like Nebhard at 4,900. I think those are really good guys to fill out your DFS lineup with. And they're not going to go massive for you. I think they could be really solid and may even give you that little red fireball that we all love so much. Small forward, Doc, I got Chris Middleton at 8,700. I know we're going less on his prize pick prop, but again, it's slim pickings out there. Could he still go 20, 10, and 5, or, maybe not 10, but, 27 and 5 or something like that? I think he still could have that game. But again, it's slim pickings here. So I'm going Middleton at 8,700. OG Anunoby has traveled for both game 3 and 4 with his performances to Philly. I like him at 6,000. Pascal Siakam at 8,600 is very risky, but on a night like tonight, you kind of got to go there, in my opinion. I like Obi Toppin at 4,000. I kind of like Tobias Harris at 5,500. I'd like to see more, but that was obviously very encouraging in game 5. I do like Nick Batum, as a late dice roll at 3,500 at the power forward position. And then, Doc, at center, I think Joel Embiid is a must play at 10,700. It's a big number, but we think he's going to have big numbers. And then Miles Turner at 7,200, Doc, tonight, I think is a very, very strong play. Talk to me DFS style.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to be very chalky, but you almost have to have Embiid and you almost have to have Brunson in your lineups tonight, because if there's two guys on the court that are going to go ballistic or have a chance to go crazy and have one of those, 80, 90, 100-point nights, it's going to be those two guys. So I think you got to have them in your lineup. I almost think you have to have Josh Hart in there somewhere just because he's been so good. Siakam is the wild card. If you play Siakam, you're going to run out of money and have a stars and scrubs situation. If you don't play Siakam, you can still build a team, and maybe Siakam doesn't go crazy tonight and light the world on fire. So I think that's the decision you have to make. You're either going to go stars and scrubs tonight with Brunson, Embiid, and Siakam, or you're going to go Brunson and Embiid and then kind of fill in the gaps with mid-range price guys and try to piece something together where you still have a chance to win. So I like Portis. I like Nembhard. I like Ty Halliburton. I love Miles Turner, obviously. Like Siakam, but it's not that easy to build a lineup tonight. There's a lot of super expensive guys, and there's a lot of very cheap guys, and there's not a lot of middle ground. So when you're building your lineup, give yourself some extra time and really plot it out, because it's not as easy as it usually is.
Tonight is the night where a Nembhard or an Oubre or a Nicholas Batum or even a Kyle Lowry will win your card for you. Because like Doc said, Embiid and Brunson, you have to have them. I think they're going to cancel out, right? And it's going to come down to that decision Doc said about Siakam or going with the 5,000 price point guys, which is the way I would go. I would rather have like more solid at-bats in my lineup than like 3 big-time at-bats and then like, a bunch of low-dose stuff. I would balance it out, I guess is the word I would use a little bit more. So anyway, Doc, I'm out of bullets here, man. I think we've taken care of the people here. We checked the ATS box. We checked the PrizePicks box. We checked the DFS box. We had some laughs. I think we're good, brother.
Yeah, I feel like we're good as well. Also, yeah, and my voice is about ready to give out, so it's probably time to roll. I got a new car this weekend, Rick, and we're not going to talk about that much, but my 16-year-old son backed into it in the driveway 2 hours after I brought it home. And I may have lost my voice in the next 10-minute period that followed that incident from occurring. And I'm still working to get it back. So hopefully when I'm here Tuesday with Kyrian, my voice will be back. I'll see you on Thursday with a voice that is back and intact. And we should be into the second round pretty deep by the time we meet again on Thursday, my friend.
All right, my friend. Have a great weekend. And everybody out there, thank you for watching and enjoy the hoops. And we'll see you next week, man.
Bye, all.